Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kylie, and I typically talk about horror movies and stuff, but I also do other relevant pop cultural discussions as well, including today's video. And today I'm going to be telling you guys who I believe should act in the new Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes movie. I'm so excited. But before I get into anything, today is my birthday. Oh, I'm 21. I'm 21 years old. It means nothing because we're in a pandemic and I'm not gonna go out to a bar. I'm not gonna do anything. But I'm 21. It's all downhill from here. Okay, happy birthday to me. Never mind, let's get started. So I'm gonna go from the least important main characters to the most important. So I'm gonna start with Clemencia, which is one of Snow's friends and like another one of the mentors, and I'm gonna end with Snow. So you're gonna wanna stick around. But there are a couple things I wanna talk about before I get into my casting, and one of them is the fact that I would love to see like basically a brand new cast. I would love to have a bunch of actors that I do not know playing these roles, but that does make it difficult for me because I'm obviously not in that realm. I'm not in that world of casting. So I'm gonna be choosing actors that I know. Realistically, I wouldn't actually want all of these actors playing these roles because I do want to see some new talent. In the original Hunger Games, Jennifer Lawrence was so just random, and then she was amazing. She was the perfect Katniss. Never mind. So I would love to see some new talent, but these are just people that I know that I think would fit these roles well. Another thing that has to do with the entire Hunger Games universe. In the original trilogy, there are no people of color except for the black people in District 11 that work in the fields, by the way. Where are the Latina people? Where are the Indians? Where are the Native Americans? Where are the Asian people? Where is all the flavor? Where's the flavor? I know that Panem is situated where North America was, but North America is a very diverse continent. I'm confused. The United States is a very diverse country. So what happened to the flavor? Where did they go? So that being said, I want to try to cast people of color in the main roles. I'm a little bit limited because obviously Snow is white and his family is white, and so I'm a little bit limited in that way. And also, none of the capital citizens in the original trilogy were black, except for Cinna. Who else? Where else is the flavor? If the capital is representative of the United States, which it is, watch my other reviews of the books, it makes sense that there aren't really black people in the capital, but I don't like that because it's a future dystopian world, and perhaps in a dystopian future racism would still exist. I don't know, but the lack of flavor suggests to me that there was some kind of race war, because where are all the people of color? It doesn't, okay. Never mind, I'm just gonna get started with my casting. So let's start with Clemencia. Who is Clemencia? So Clemencia is the daughter of the Capitol's energy secretary. She is also the mentor for the tribute from District 11, the male tribute, and she's one of Coriolanus's long-term friends. They're pretty close and they kind of get into some shenanigans together. And she's basically around for the entire book, so she's got like a semi-main character, but I think she's the least important, so I'm going with her first. Clemencia is a little bit mysterious. She's also a little bit icy, a little bit mean. So I think that Tati Gabriel should play Clemencia. If you haven't seen the new Sabrina show on Netflix, I've only watched the first 2 seasons, I think, but if you've seen that, you know that Tati Gabriel has that ice. She has that attitude. She could definitely be Clemencia. Like a stuck-up, kind of mysterious, kind of mean, kind of just icy character. So I would love to see Tati Gabriel play Clemencia. Moving right along, I want to cast Billy Top. He's also not super important, but he is very integral to the plot. So he is Lucy Greybaird's ex-boyfriend, but he ditches her for the richer daughter of the mayor. Now I don't want to give spoilers or anything, so I'm not going to get in too deep with any of these characters, and he's not super essential, so I'm just going to let you know that I think that he should be played by Dacre Montgomery. Dacre Montgomery has already played a jerk named Billy in Stranger Things, and we have to stand. Because he's a side character, I don't think that it should be someone that we don't know. I think it would be perfectly reasonable if he was played by Dacre Montgomery. I know he could pull it off. I know I'm typecasting him though a little bit, and I'm sure he has range to play other roles besides that, and I don't want him to just be a typecast kind of an actor, but he would be really good in this role, I'm just saying. Okay, next up is Dr. Gahl, who is the head game maker of the 10th Hunger Games. She works in the Capitol's experimental weapons division at the Citadel and is also one of the top professors at the Academy, so she is Coriolanus's teacher. She believes that people are inherently violent and must be controlled, hence why the Hunger Games are necessary to create this perpetual war and keep people under control. So she's kind of the mastermind and Snow's mentor, and the reason ultimately why he becomes the person he becomes. So Dr. Gahl is an important character. I have two options for her, two very different options. Because on the one hand, I feel like she's an older-ish woman, probably like in her 50s. Certainly not old crumbling to dust, that type of archaic trope or whatever. I think she's old enough to have seen some things, but young enough to be very put together and poised and just, you know what I mean? Like just an icy, like has her shit together woman. For that reason, I think that she should be played by Gillian Anderson. Now, if you have not seen the TV show Hannibal, my dad and I are gonna make a video about that TV show because it's so good, it's so good. She plays a psychiatrist in that show and she's so icy. I know I keep using the word icy, but it's important because that is basically the main characteristic that I'm using to cast this character, because she has no regard for human life. It's very strange and just almost robotic. She's almost kind of this robot woman that just has no emotion towards other people dying and stuff. It's very strange. I think Gillian Anderson could pull that off. But if they were to take another direction, I think that another actress that could pull off this same sort of reserved and tactful, poised single woman is Lupita Nyong'o. Talk about range. Talk about range. I know Lupita could do it. I know she could. Plus, I want the flavor. I want the flavor. I want to see a dark-skinned woman cast in a powerful role. I do. All right, moving right along. Let's talk about Dean Highbottom. He's the dean of the academy that Coriolanus attends, and he's credited for creating the Hunger Games. He has sort of a personal vendetta against Snow for some unknown reason, but if you read the book, you find out, you know, eventually. And he also has a really severe morphling addiction, so he's kind of just this washed out jerk of a dean that has a bone to pick with Snow. It is in my humble opinion that this role could be filled by nobody other than our Willem Dafoe. Am I wrong? Willem Dafoe could do it. There's not too much to say. I know he could do it. If you've seen The Lighthouse, you know that he is perfectly able to play a very weird, disheveled alcoholic, so I think that he could play, you know, a washed out morphling addict. He does have a stern professor kind of a vibe. He could do it. I also considered briefly that maybe Gary Oldman could do it because he also played a very disheveled and crazy, wild-eyed Sirius Black. So that's a possibility. I think that he should look a little bit older though, and Willem Dafoe looks a little bit older than Gary Oldman. Oldman, what a last name. Okay, moving right along. Let's talk about the Grandmam. By the way, that is Coriolanus Snow's grandmother. He calls her the Grandmam. Pretty weird, but honestly fitting. She is a very firm believer in the grandeur and the Snow name. Snow always lands on top. The capital is always right. I hate thinking, let's just trust the government. She sings the capital anthem every single morning, and she's constantly driving her beliefs into Snow about the districts and how they don't qualify as people. They are lesser than. Snow always lands on top. The Snows are better than everybody else. The capital is better than everybody else. That's the Grandmam. Oh, and she has a rooftop garden of roses. But she's a very regal woman, even though she's sort of slowly losing her mind at the fact that her family has lost so much money and is truthfully in a lot of despair because she's starting to become like, you know, the other. The lesser than people, the poor people, ew, the poor people. So she, you know, kind of is losing her mind a little bit. So, but who should play her? This is mainly just on looks and talent, and we know a lot of very talented older white actresses, so, you know, I had some options. The first one being Helen Mirren, for no reason in particular, she could do it. The second being Glenn Close. Now, I was just gonna forget those two and just say Meryl Streep, but I feel like that's too obvious. I don't know. You let me know. Literally any talented old white woman could play his Grandmam. Really, they could. So it doesn't really matter. If we're talking about regality, it's Meryl Streep. Helen Mirren too, yeah, no, definitely. Glenn Close I would choose if they were going for more of a hardened old woman, like a woman that has the ability to be regal and proper and everything, but is also hardened by the war she went through and like losing her son and having to take care of her family when there's nothing for them. And Glenn Close, I think, would do a better job of playing someone that's been hardened by everything going on. Okay, now let's talk about Tigress, and then we will be getting into our 3 leads. So Tigress, I don't have a ton to say about her. She is Coriolanus's cousin. Surprise. You literally find that out on the first page of the book though, so it's like not really a spoiler, but she is his cousin. So Tigress, if you don't know, had already been established in Mockingjay. She gave Katniss shelter when she was storming the Capitol, etc. So young Tigress, I believe she should be played by Sophie Turner. Now, I don't watch Game of Thrones. I never really have. I haven't really seen her act before, but I know that Game of Thrones is very popular and the people on that show are very talented. Also, I needed someone that was like blonde and blue-eyed and looked like Coriolanus, because Coriolanus is supposed to be blonde and blue-eyed, etc. He grows up to be President Snow, so we have some limited options here. But she also has the proper bone structure, like the high cheekbones and whatnot, that definitely mimic the actress that played Tigress in the original trilogy. So I think in terms of just looks, Sophie Turner would do the job, as well as the fact that she's just a good actress. And Tigress isn't a main role. She's not super important, so I'm not super pressed about who plays her. I also toyed with the idea that maybe it could be Anya Taylor-Joy, but I don't know. You let me know. Okay, let's talk about Sejanus. I had several ideas for Sejanus. I was like, we need a sweet kind of looking boy, someone that's able to play soft characters, you know, and I was toying around with a lot of the actors from It, those kids are being cast in literally everything right now. I was like, Wyatt Olaf would be good, but no. Those kids have gotten enough work. I think that Nat Wolff would be a really good Sejanus. Now this is tough because he recently, just in 2018, he played a teenager. I still think that he can look young enough. He's teetering, but the thing is, I don't know a lot of teen actors. I really don't. And most actors that play teenagers are in their 20s anyways, and I just feel like you have to be in your 20s to have the emotional intelligence to understand how to play a realistic teenager. But this is also going to be a really high budget movie, so you need the acting to be on point. So if the actors look a little bit older than they're supposed to, I don't mind. By the way, if you haven't seen Hereditary or My Friend Dahmer, Nat Wolff is also in those movies, and I think he's an amazing indie actor, and I would love for him to stay doing artistic projects and stuff like that. I'm a little bit selfish, but if he were to branch out and do some big budget movies, I hope it's this one. Okay, let's talk about Lucy Gray Baird. Lucy is the mentee of Coriolanus Snow and his love interest. She's a talented singer and part of the group called the Covey, and she basically calls them her family because all of her real family were killed. Her parents were shot and killed because they were talking about the Capitol. They were talking about, you know, basic human freedoms. So they got killed, of course. So she lives with this group called the Covey, and they perform together to put food on the table. So she's a performer. She's pretty dramatic. She's great at singing. She cares about her appearance. Overall, a very good character, very pleasant character. So I want an actress of color to play Lucy Gray. I really do. Never in the book does it mention what color her skin is. So we have options. There's no reason why we need another white female lead. There's not. So my first thought is this person has to be really talented, be able to sing, be a performer, be able to pull off that sweet look, that kind of folksy vibe kind of a look. My first thought went to Zendaya, and I was like, well, she checks most of the boxes. I don't know if I would see her really as a folksy kind of a person with her little bandmates and stuff playing banjos and whatever. I don't really see, I mean, she could. Zendaya has range. I don't know if I could really see that. But here's the problem, because the only other people that I know of, the only other young actresses of color that I know are talented enough with singing and performance to play this role are China Anne McClain from Ant Farm and Willow Smith. And this became problematic because of who I wanted to cast as Coriolanus Snow, and you will understand why soon. So for Snow, I'm really hoping that they pull some random new actor and introduce us to someone new, because I was struggling with this. My first thought immediately was honestly Bill Skarsgård. I think he would be the perfect Snow. But then I was like, he's too old. He is too old to be playing an 18-year-old. But is he? No, he is. He is. And if he were playing Snow, obviously his love interest should not be Willow or China Anne McClain, because that's, you can see the age difference. Those girls look very young. Would not work. So then I toyed around with the idea of Freddie Highmore. He plays Norman Bates on the Bates Motel show. He obviously has the creepy factor. He would be a good President Snow, but also none of those three girls that I mentioned would realistically be a love interest of him, because they're all just they're so out of his league. I don't feel like there would be chemistry there. It would be weird. So then the last person I considered for President Snow is Logan Lerman. Hear me out. President Snow has to have blue eyes. That limited my search a little bit, especially given that I'm only using actors that I know, and he has to be attractive. He does. He and I know that Logan Lerman has been typecasted as the sweet boy or the hero or whatever, but he's talented. I think he has range. I want to see him do a role like this. Plus, not to mention, even though he's 28 years old, if he shaved his beard off, he looks 16. Plus, realistically, he's the only one attractive enough, realistically, to have those other girls be his love interest. I still think Willow and China Anne McClain are like still a little bit too young to be playing his love interest. Zendaya, I think, would be perfect, but I mean, these two characters were really the hardest out of all of them for me to cast, because they're the main characters. It really matters who you put in those roles. I think it's gonna be a challenge for them to cast this movie, but they did so well in the original trilogy that I think it won't be a problem. I think the movie is supposed to come out in 2022. I'm not totally sure though, and especially with COVID, production is we don't know when that's gonna happen. So I hope that you enjoyed this fan casting and that you're not too upset with any of my choices, because I know some of them were kind of, what? But I did my best with what I have to work with. It's also not my fault. It's not my fault that Hollywood is racist and we don't have a lot of people of color as stars that are well known. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. I hope to work in the movie industry someday, and you better believe there will be better representation when our generation takes over that industry. So, all of that being said, I'm gonna wrap it up here. I really hope that you guys put your fan casting down below, because I would love to see what other people think about which actors should play which roles. I post every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 5 p.m, but if you hit the notification bell, you'll just be notified anytime I post. And that's 3 times a week. That's a lot of content, baby! I also post once a week on my vlog channel, so subscribe over there if you're interested in my personal life or in travel, or I don't know. I do a lot of random things. I dyed my dad's hair purple, if you want to see that. So that'll be linked down below. Also, please check out the petitions and the GoFundMes linked down below. Black lives still matter. Yesterday, today, tomorrow, till the end of time. Black lives matter. So please do what you can to help. You have no idea how much it means to sign those petitions. Elijah McClain's petition got over 2 million signatures and they reopened the case because of the petition. So please check them out. You can also follow me at Kai Johns on Instagram, and my Twitter is the same username. I post a lot of resources and stuff like that. Also, I'm 21. I'm 21 today. I'm 21. Happy birthday to me. Okay, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that I hope that you enjoyed this video, and that I catch you in the next one. Bye!